Every army needs warriors whose specialty is victory. Kensei, sword saints, the guardians of our people. Every great ruler since the fall has trained as a sword saint. Every one. And they are formidable. The Nodachi was long thought to be too large for use in real war. They proved them wrong. Their armor is the strongest of our people. As is their will.
Alright guys, the third faction is finally here, the Samurai, also known more commonly as the Weeb faction. So, fun story, when For Honor first came out, people divided up the three factions into three different nicknames. The Knights were the Meme Lords, the Samurai were the Weeb team, and the Vikings were the edgy boys, both figuratively and literally.
My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me. Oh shit! Easy.
Who are the Samurai? I love the Samurai. I've been a huge fan of Asian culture for a long time and got my minor in the subject, and I specialized in Japanese history and culture while I was in college. I am by no means a professor on the subject, but I feel at least somewhat qualified to give you the basics. Now, the word samurai roughly means to serve, and it's a great word to use in reference to their purpose. To make a long story short, they were a class system, warriors meant to serve under the daimyo, or local feudal lords of that time. They grew more popular thanks to the Sengoku Jidai, or Warring States period, and grew into legend during the Edo period, which lasted for a long time all the way up to the end of the samurai era in 1877. Now, pop culture and anime today have greatly exaggerated their feats and beliefs, and throughout these videos we'll be debunking some of those and even uphold some of them, because let's be honest, many legends are born from some degree of truth, and there are true fables about the samurai that we can actually discuss here, but I do want to separate fact from fiction. Now, when it comes to weapons, honor codes, and practices, we're definitely going to be addressing those straight up and as directly as possible, but we can't condense all that into one video. We'd be here forever, and I want to try to keep these as close to 30 minutes as possible. So let's leave all that aside for now and go ahead and talk about our boy here, the Kensei, the vanguard of the samurai faction. The word Kensei means sword saint, or it can mean sword master, and it's a real title given to only the greatest of swordsmen. The most notable example in history would likely be Miyamoto Musashi, who was famous for his actual two-sword style techniques and was considered one of the greatest swordsmasters in all of Japanese history. Now, in For Honor lore, the Kensei is the vanguard of the samurai, and they're considered the best leaders and commanders. When I think of a Kensei, I think of a noble leader. He's more than just a warrior, guys. He's a general with experience in battle. He knows the true nature of war and commands the respect of those around him. He doesn't abide the dishonorable or the rude, and I also don't see him as one who minces words. He's a silent type, a strong but silent type. He prefers to let his actions speak for him. So, not a lot to really say about the Kensei in terms of character, because we're going to be comparing him later to a lot of other characters in the samurai faction. So, what does he come armed with? Alright, so, I love and hate this armor. So, the Kensei here is wearing what appears to be an earlier set of samurai armor, and that's a Kozane Cuirass and some large Sode shoulder guards on his back, hanging from his shoulders there. And also appears that there are some kusazuri hanging from his cuirass, which are those little hanging protectors there that look a lot like the Sode. But it looks like it's made of lacquer wood, which is a problem. Let's go ahead and debunk this right now. The samurai never wore wooden armor. It's true that Japanese warriors did wear wooden armor, but that was before the advent of the samurai. By the time the samurai came along, they'd be wearing lacquer steel armor, which is much better than wooden armor. But here, this looks wooden, and that is definitely a problem. I don't like that at all. Now this vest sort of thing that you see hanging from him here is what's called a jinbaori. I'm sure I mispronounced that. Jinbaori. It's a type of jacket worn by prestigious samurai or leaders. And then you have the face up here. I really like this. This is your classic samurai helmet called a kabuto, which is very good for deflecting downward strikes because as soon as it hits the top, it will slant off and slide down the side of the kabuto there, which is really, really cool. It also looks like he's wearing a mengu mask. A mengu mask is a mask that's meant to cover the bottom part of the face, and you'll also notice it has a mustache. Now, me personally, I'm not a huge fan of the mustache aesthetic, but there is a purpose for it. The mustache is only seen on the male version. If I were to switch this to a female, you'd see that mustache go away for some reason. And the mustache is actually meant to indicate the skill and reputation of the samurai. The bigger and thicker that mustache, the more reputation and skillful that samurai likely is. But I also want to point out that a samurai would likely not wear a mengu mask into battle. That's asking for trouble. It makes breathing more difficult in a long-winded battle. It restricts your face, and honestly, it's not that great for protection. I mean, it's something for a face protector, I guess, but really it's not going to do much better than what a kabuto would do. Honestly, better to keep your face free, in my opinion, but that's just me. So, let's talking about the armor, let's talk about the weapon. This is a nodachi. Nodachi, it's one of my favorite weapons. I actually own my own nodachi. It's really, really cool. I'm a huge fan of this type. It's really tall, so it fits my frame. The name literally means big field sword, and it fits the name well. The nodachi is much longer than your standard katana, and unlike what was said in the trailer where they said that it that many people said that it was not good for field combat. Actually, no, that's definitely not true. This would definitely be a field weapon. I'm willing to bet it was probably carried by both samurai and ashigaru, who were the foot soldiers. While a katana would be a backup weapon if your polearm or spear was ever dropped, this I could see being a primary weapon to use against cavalry and against enemies that don't want to get up too close. It has a lot of power in the downward strike because it's a heavier weapon. So what you want to do is you want to get it over your head and slash it downward and take advantage of that gravity as the weight brings the blade down. An excellent weapon and great at keeping an opponent back. And also you'll notice the handle is rather long too. The handle would be good for moving your hands up and down the handle. Now if there's a problem with it, it's that it's a little cumbersome. One of the problems with having a longer ranged weapon like this means that it requires more time to recover from the swing than it would a smaller blade, and it's a little cumbersome, it's a little wonky in moving it around the body, which is why you want to keep it in tight, close movements. But a good warrior could find ways around that, and definitely the Kensei uses it in a very creative way. I actually like the way the Kensei fights. But before we get into how the Kensei fights, let's talk about the way my Kensei looks. Now, here's the funny thing. This is the first time I'll ever do this in these videos, but I'm going to compare both my male and female looks because there's an important difference. So let's start with the female. This is my female look. You'll notice that right there we see that the mengu mask is lacking a mustache. So important to keep that in mind. And again, we have our wooden armor, which I'm just not a fan of. I don't like that wooden armor, but we still have the vest, which is cool, and we have some studs on the sode, which also looks kind of nice. And there appear to be spikes on the shin guards there, so all of that really, really cool. So I like this look. It's a very cool look, and there's a reason why I use a female, and you'll see why when we get to executions. And then my male looks absolutely terrifying here. This is not a mengu mask he's wearing, because a mengu mask, like I said, only covers the bottom half of the face. I do not remember the name of a full face mask. I will probably look it up later and put it as a caption below once I re-look it up, but right now I don't remember it. The armor here looks a bit better. That doesn't look wooden. That actually looks like it could be steel, which is better. I definitely appreciate that more. But you also see that carrying some wakizashi on his side, that looks like a maybe those are Tanto, maybe those aren't even Wakizashi, but regardless, definitely love the look. It looks scary, it looks really badass, but I think the biggest problem I have with the mask is look at how small the eye holes are. I would really not like to look out of those eye holes. That would be very restricting, but still a definitely cool look. So now that we've talked about the Kensei, how do you fight with Kensei? So I think it's agreed upon by most players of For Honor that the Kensei is one of the most well-balanced heroes in game. The moveset is simple to understand and easy to execute and devastating against the uncoordinated and unprepared. Kensei has a 3-combo moveset with mixes of lights and heavies. The third heavy of any combo that comes from the side has hyper armor, ensuring that it can't be stopped. As you could see from the glow white that my character just had, that was the hyper armor. Now any heavy that comes from the top is automatically unblockable. Now, the beautiful thing about that is that means that a lot of the combos that Kensei throws have to do with that top unblockable. So how does that basically work? Well, before we do, let's talk about how awesome it is that the top heavy is so important. In actual Nadachi combat, it would usually be swung that way, swinging downward, letting the gravity and the weight of the blade be what made it effective in striking. So, with that said, Kensei rarely has to land this attack. See, Kensei can soft fan out of almost every top heavy into a side heavy or light. So if I start the attack, I can suddenly switch into a side light, or a side dodge heavy. Oh, did I forget to mention that? Like an assassin, Kensei can do dodge heavy attacks. I never recommend doing this as a starting move because they're incredibly easy to see coming and can usually be parried. However, they're great when used against the uncoordinated. So if I start with a top heavy, but then do a side dodge, sometimes I can catch my opponent off balance. Sometimes I can also do a heavy from the side too. It's a little slower, but like you just saw, it can catch them off balance. Another great way to start is if you do the overhead top heavy, but then soft feint into a guard break. You can do a pommel slam, which doesn't do any damage to health, but it can stun their stamina a little bit and grants a free light attack from the top. Now let's say that you decide to go for that side heavy. Let's say that you go that side heavy and they block it. I would go for an immediate top light because it's really hard to stop. That is such a fast light. The lights that the Kensei throws are so fast, it's just really, really hard to see coming. Another important factor of the Kensei's moveset is their zone attack. The first attack of the zone attack comes out unbelievably fast, but the second one is pretty slow and easily blockable. Well, that time it worked. What most people like to do is they like to cancel out of the zone attack after the first strike, so that way they can be ready for the counterattack. I hope what all this is drilling into you is the beauty of Kensei, because really that's it to Kensei's combo. I mean, sure, Kensei has other things that they could do, like for example their guard break. If they shove off the guard break, they can automatically do an overhead top heavy, which is unblockable, so they don't need to go into the combo. But my point isn't that. My point is the following. When it comes to Kensei, the beauty of Kensei's moveset is the simplicity of understanding the moveset and its basics, because there aren't any fancy bleeds or fancy stamina drains like with Jormungandr or Peacekeeper or any of those others. But the simplicity of the moveset makes them easy to understand, and their ability to soft feint allows them to be contendable. It's not like Warden, where Warden has a basic moveset that can't really work into anything else. Kensei works. It's fluid striking style that allows them to move like an assassin, but with striking abilities that are easy to understand and follow. This is what makes them so easy to handle, but also so difficult to fight against. If I had to give any advice for Kensei, it's simply this. Even though your moveset is very basic, be unpredictable. Never go for that automatic top heavy. If you go for that top heavy, make sure that you're going to start and then pommel strike and then go for your light. Or you're going to go top heavy, but then do a guard break. Maybe you're going to go top heavy, but then you're going to pause yourself and then do another top heavy. Or top heavy, dodging attack. Whatever you plan to do, make sure that when you play Kensei, you're playing them in the way that outwits your opponent. You're playing chess with them, or Go, or Shogi, whatever. You're playing a game with them. Outwit them. If you play Kensei right, you're going to notice your opponent's getting very, very angry very quickly. If you become too obvious or too easy to anticipate, opponents are going to make you suffer for it. That's just the nature of Kensei. See what I mean? You got to play them. You got to make them think you're going one way when really you're going another. Whenever I became too obvious, my brother could easily block and counterattack. But when I mixed things up, when I changed the direction, when I dodged at the right moment, I became a monster. That is how you play Kensei. So enough with that, guys. We're done taking a look at the Kensei. Now it's time to take a look at those awesome executions. Okay, guys, we've talked about how you fight with Kensei. We've talked about how Kensei looks. We talked about the samurai and basically introduced the concept of what Kensei is. Now it's time to look at the executions. Now I'm going to use my female Kensei for this, and we'll explain why when we get to a specific execution. But don't worry about it. We're going to go through these as quick as possible because these are there's a lot to go through. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. No look kill. Okay, that's kind of awesome. Let's see it again. Ironically, I don't know if that's going into anything vital. Let me see it again from another angle. Yeah, that's, from the placement of the blade, it looks like it's just missing a vital organ, but that could still technically kill. Pretty cool. Okay, I'll give that one an 8 out of 10. That's an 8 out of 10 for me. Pretty cool, definitely deadly. I like the movement. Very nice. Yasuraka. Alright, Yasuraka, it refers to the adjective phrase with ease, which is Yasuraka ni. It's used usually with the word sleep or die, and it's usually a phrase basically saying for the victim to sleep. It's basically to end them or to put them to sleep indefinitely. So, pretty badass. I like the pulling behind here and the stabbing into the gut. Don't know if the gut stab would kill, but it's definitely really cool that just yanks him back like that. Very, very nice. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 only because, look at the beginning part again. Why did he roll back and get into position like that? That's a little funny to me. It's a little choreographed, but still really, really cool. So, 7 out of 10. I like it. The Daimyo's verdict. Okay, here it is. Listen. Tsumemane no wo kiru ki wa nai. That is Japanese for I don't take pleasure in killing the worthless people, or I don't enjoy killing useless people. That to me is so badass. Let me hear it again. That is awesome. Now the male says something too, but it's just not as cool. Basically what he says is it's rude to not know your place, which is still cool, but this just hits me better. I really like this execution with the female. And then she just slits the throat, which is definitely deadly. I love the cutting of the legs. They must fall. Then definitely cool. That's a 10 out of 10 for me. The line is awesome. The move is awesome. Everything about it is perfect. Yes. Okay, moving on. Lose something?
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
Well, what's that then?
All right. We call it a draw.
Okay, that's an 8 out of 10 for me, just because you took the arm off way too easy, but the funny factor here is great. I love that little wave he does at the end, too. Just imagine this, just chop. Oh, hey, you see my arm? You seen it? It's over there. Oh, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. It's awesome. 8 out of 10. That is really funny, but just I don't like how she cuts through it so easily. That's a little too easy. Okay, 8 out of 10. That's cool, though. Gravity's Fall. No, I will not reference that stupid show. Okay, it's not that bad. Whatever. All right, so I don't know how deadly this is. Look at this. Falls on the sword, that's bad, but then she doesn't cut through him. She just kind of slides it out from under him, which definitely would cut him, but I don't think that's very deadly. I'm going to have to give it a 6 out of 10 because I question the deadliness of this. It's still cool, it shows power, but I don't know if it would kill. I think the cut would be a little too shallow for me, for it to be deadly. I mean, you can even see him writhing on the ground, too, so he's not really dead yet. Look.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Yeah, he's kind of writhing there. He's not dead yet, so you haven't finished the job. Finish it. Anyway, yeah, 6 out of 10. Kakashi. Ooh, okay. So Kakashi, best guess, I think it's referring to the game Go, which is a Japanese board game. It basically means forcing a move, and from the looks of it, it kind of fits, because look at the way she moves. So the first strike forces the leg down, forces the arm out from under you. Every move she makes sets him up for the final blow. So you're basically forcing him to move in a way that suits your ends, which suits that name. So that's my best guess. And no, I did not say Kakashi like from Naruto. I said Kikashi. Kikashi. Ki with an I. Kikashi. Still really awesome. I definitely love the blow. I don't like that she cuts off the arm so easily, so I'll make this a 9 out of 10. This is a very, very cool, fluid execution. I love the movement and the footwork. Very nice. 9 out of 10. Jutsu. All right. Bonk. Jutsu, it basically means headache. So this would cause a headache. Bonk. Very nice. What I love about this is not the headbutt, though. I love the way she twists the blade inside of him. Look at this. Twist and out. Very nice. That's very brutal. I love it. I'll give that one a 10 out of 10. I love when they struggle like this. That's good, but then bop. I want to know what's going through her head when she gets hit. What is going through her head right there? Let's see.
Listen, you son of a bitch. Listen, fuckhead. You have fucking crossed the line. Get that through your goddamn fucking head.
Very nice, very nice. All right, 10 out of 10. That was good. Quick kill. That was very quick. One more time. Okay, that's kind of cool, using the momentum of his fall and then spearing him from behind. That's very nice. Reminds me a bit of an Orochi move we'll see later, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, you know what? That's an 8 out of 10 for me. It's not as flashy as I might like, but it's effective. I don't think the blade goes anywhere vital necessarily, but definitely really cool that he just lets him fall on her like that. I like that. So 8 out of 10 works for me on this one. Very nice. And it is quick. Definitely very quick. Evisceration. I love the brief pause before the strike. Look at this. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I hope that's deep enough, because I'm worried the Nodachi didn't go as deep as it needed to kill, but assuming it did, because she did build up that power. 9 out of 10. Yeah, that's a 9 out of 10 for me. It's not bad. I definitely like it, but I X'd it out. X'd it out for this one. It's still cool. Shizuka ni Numore. Alright, so Shizuka ne Nemore means rest quietly, or to rest well. And it looks kind of cool. It shows respect. I definitely like the respect shown here. Very cool. One more time. Shot to the gut, into the neck. Lay down, bow. That's really cool. That's really cool. I like that. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I love the respectful moments. I gave it praise with Warden. I'll give it praise here. Bow. Very nice. Okay. Umisen Yamasen. Umisen Yamasen means 1,000 seas, 1,000 mountains. And it's related to a wise saying that, basically it means, it references an idiom in Japanese meaning 1,000 years at sea and 1,000 years in the mountains. It actually references a longer form, which is a snake who spends 1,000 years at sea and 1,000 years in the mountains will become a dragon. The idea is the more you understand the lowest points, which is the sea, and the highest points, the mountains, the wiser you'll become. I'm very much like that. Yep, this person definitely knows the ins and outs of warfare. This person knows how to use that sword. It shows wisdom. It shows valor in battlefield. It fits the name. And it's also really cool. But a lot of people have said it's too much like Kakashi. And I can see the issue with that. But I think this is a little bit cooler than Kakashi because it's more paced, it's fluid, and it actually looks like she's taking time with each blow. It's very cool. I definitely like it a lot. Grade 10 out of 10. I really like this one. It's hard for me to dislike this one. 10 out of 10 for this one. It's amazing. Better. Okay, that one's basic. And with the weight of the Nodachi, I could see that happening. 7 out of 10. I think it works fine. 7 out of 10 is fair to this one. It's okay. It's not my favorite. It's just kind of basic, especially after all the cool stuff we just saw, but it's still effective. Yeah, 7 out of 10. It works. Ground stab. I like this one up to 1 point. I don't like how she uses her hand to clean the sword. That's just running the risk of cutting your own fingers right there. Still cool. And then stabbing into the ground. Okay, kind of nice. I like that. But again, after all the flashy ones we just saw, I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. It's just not my thing. It's just basic. It's simple. And also, I'm not sure. Is she putting it in a place that would be deadly? Looks a little low to be deadly, but whatever. 6 out of 10 is fair. Insert new spine. That is nasty. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. That's so awful. Oh, no. Oh, it's terrible. 8 out of 10. I'll give you an 8 out of 10 if you stop. 8 out of 10. That is disgusting. Moving on. Kudoka. Pop. Okay, Kudoka, it translates to basically one who practices Kyudo archery. And the way she's drawing the bow looks very much like the way a Kyudo practitioner would draw the bow, which is really cool. I like it. The punch is a little silly. Then bow. This would be the feet execution we've been talking about with a lot of heroes. This is where she was able to use her feet to do a kill. I have my issues with this. Why use a bow when you have a sword? It's just a waste of an arrow, and it seems a little impractical, so I'm going to have to give that a 7 out of 10. But it's still cool. I like it. Oh, and if you're wondering what she's saying, it's Minohodo Shirubeki de Atana, which means you should have known your place. You should have known better. Alright, also Togari. Whoa, what? Let me see that again. How does that work? What? Okay, first of all, Osotogari means great outer reaping, and it's one of the 40 throwing techniques in judo. Basically, it's the way you sweep the leg from behind them. Watch this leg. That would be a good sweep in a judo match. But look at what the blade does. This is my problem. Watch this. The blade is in front, but notice how the warden's body goes backwards, not forwards. Watch. The warden will fall backward. How did the blade cut his neck while it's going back? If the head were going forward, then it would make sense. Maybe she's shoving the blade down, but then by doing that, she's not pushing the neck into the blade. That's a little hard to buy. It's still cool and it's efficient. I like it, but tell you what, that's a 6 out of 10. Just because I have my questions about how she pulled off the decapitation, but the use of a judo move to knock them down is awesome, since samurai were expected to be proficient in bare-handed martial arts as much as they were in weapon martial arts. And that is it, everybody. That is all of the Kensei's executions. So, with all that said, what else can I say about the Kensei? What are some final notes I can give you about how to use her correctly or use him correctly? They're a fantastic opener to the samurai. The long reach grants extreme advantages in fights, and the ability to maneuver and dodge makes them almost an assassin in ability, and their strength in gaining momentum. The best Kensei players are the ones who know how to pressure an opponent by mixing up their directions and their patterns of attack. If you maintain a steady and direct variety of attacks with each volley, then you'll notice that your opponents will have a lot of trouble anticipating what you're going to do. And remember that Kenseis are bait masters. They love to bait their opponent into trying to parry or dodge the way they want to. Just bait them and then react to the bait. That about wraps up my talk on the Kensei, though. Next time, the moment has come. We're going to be talking about the first assassin of the samurai. The one that everyone's been waiting for. All you big samurai lovers out there have been waiting for this one. The katana wielder himself, Orochi. We'll see you there, guys.